All right, welcome again, everyone, to our 12th session in our Entrepreneur Bootcamp series. You are joining us, the Filipino American Chamber of Commerce of Greater Los Angeles. This event is in partnership with National ACE, National ACE. For tonight, our session is all about government contracting. So if you were able to join us last week, that was actually about supplier diversity. And tonight's topic is kind of like a more detailed process of how to do government contracting. We have a really special guest with us from PACE that we're going to introduce a little bit later. But in the spirit of Halloween, because that was just yesterday, hopefully everyone has recovered from Halloween. I know Halloween can get a little bit crazy, especially if you have children, nieces, nephews, little people in the family. But this is our question for tonight. If you were able to choose, what superpower would you choose to have? Please type your answers in the chat. Let's see what you guys are going to choose. I think for me, I'm not really very fond of flying, so I'm not going to do flying. I think for me, I would choose to travel. I would go different places very quickly. I don't know what that's called. I forget what that's called. I don't want to do time traveling, but I want to travel to different places very quickly. That would be the superpower I want to have. So if you have other answers, let me see, maybe I can call on some people who would like to share and get themselves off mute. Andrew is to turn 15 years younger. So our speaker wants to turn 15 years younger. Awesome. Andre Woods is saying, Andre, what would you like to have?
Auto racer or a doctor. I know that's a wide spectrum, but those are mine.
Ooh, Gemma wants the gift of love to all so that everyone gets along. That would be a nice superpower, huh?
That was my first one.
That would be a nice superpower. Henry, what superpower would you like to have?
Well, you know, the Ant-Man, that could be big giant.
Oh, wow.
And I could be very tiny, very small. So if I want to, gate crash something, I could just go in.
That's an interesting answer.
Yeah.
Awesome, Henry. Dr. Margarita, would you like to share?
Yeah, I think I would be a plane so I can travel all over the place.
Oh, nice. Yes,
Yeah.
your own mode of transportation. Perfect.
That's right, a jumbo jet.
Yeah, awesome. Then you can bring people along with you too.
That's correct.
Awesome. Lalaine says, power to bring out the good out of people. Awesome.
Wow.
Lalaine, that's another good superpower. I think it's very close to what Gemma wants to be. Awesome. Thanks everyone for sharing. So welcome again. This is our 12th session in our series. So we're almost at the end. We have 2 more left before this series comes to a close. So I'll be your host for tonight. My name is Fiji Victoriano, and I'm the secretary for the Filipino American Chamber of Commerce of Greater Los Angeles. I'm also the director of the programs committee for the chamber. So a little bit about our chamber. We are here to promote, cultivate, connect, and empower the Filipino American community and its allies for business development in Greater LA. Our vision is to be the leading catalyst for the prosperity of businesses that share the values of the Filipino American community. Some of our core values are listed here, which include excellence, innovation, entrepreneurial spirit, diversity, community outreach, and collaboration as well. So we were established in 2001, so we've been around for 21 years. We have roughly around 150 members. We usually would do around 2 to 3 events per month or attend some events of our partners. But right now, because we're doing these webinar Entrepreneur Bootcamp series, we've been doing one every week. So after this, we'll probably go back to a regular programming of around 2 events per month. We have a lot of strategic partners, which include nonprofit organizations, also people in that are in policy, and other corporate members that are very supportive of our small business owners. So these webinars are in partnership with National ACE, that is National Asian Pacific Islander American Chamber of Commerce and Entrepreneurship. Their mission is that they advance Asian American and Pacific Islander business owners. So one voice for the Asian American and Pacific Islander business community, building capacity and fostering economic development through advocacy, partnerships, and programs. So these webinars are part of their hashtag AAPI Strong program. So National ACE provides a unified voice for the business interests of 2.65 million AAPI small business owners in the United States. So they seek to improve economic, political, and social well-being of AAPIs by doing 5 of these things, which include advocating for their business interests nationally, enhancing community building, and fostering the next generation of AAPI entrepreneurs and executives. So this has been our calendar. So thank you again, everyone who has been with us since the very beginning in August. Crazy ride, right? I mean, it feels like it went by so quickly, but sometimes when you're in it, you feel like it's not like going fast enough. But we did start in August, and again, we are ending November 16th. Hopefully everyone can attend our graduation day on November 16th. All right, so let's go and move on to the main portion of our webinar tonight, which is our presentation by our wonderful speaker. Our speaker is Andrew Barrera, and Andrew, for the past 30 years, has held employment career positions dedicated to public policy, economic development, government and business relations, and public service. Working for the state and municipal governments, the nonprofit economic development sector, and operating his own consulting business, Mr. Barrera has had an opportunity to work closely with thousands of local and large businesses, including CEOs, senior executives, and small business owners on a variety of business and industry-related issues, ranging from transportation to small business financing, to strategic planning, to business development, and government contracting, which is our topic for tonight. He currently is a procurement relationship manager for the Los Angeles Minority Business Development Agency, also known as MBDA, which is operated by the Pacific Asian Consortium in Employment, which is PACE. So we are very honored to have one of our really good friends, PACE colleagues, Andrew Barrera, for tonight. So please help me welcome Mr. Andrew Barrera.
Yay!
Well,
Go ahead, Andrew.
Okay, well, I want to thank everybody for inviting us. Just want to let you know that we're here to assist you. PACE operates numerous programs, so I operate the MBDA program for companies that are making $500,000 or more that are minority and looking to get contracts with the government, utilities, and corporations. And but we also operate a program called GoBiz, which is through the Governor's Office of Business and Economic Development. We operate a Women's Business Center, which is administered through the SBA. We also have 2 contracts with the City of LA, Business Source Center contracts. And we also are a lender, what we call a CDFI, a Community Development Financial Institution. And we're an alternative lender to banks. So if you can't get a loan traditionally through a bank, you could turn to us and we can see if we're able to assist you. And we're an approved SBA lender. So with that being said, so let's talk about procurement. Now, even though we're talking about government contracting, I'm going to talk more about the protocol of procurement. And really what procurement is your ability, or a small business owner's ability, or a medium-sized small business owner's ability to secure contracts, to have an infrastructure in place that will allow you to perform on a contract and scale to meet whatever the demands are that your fee for service or products that you're going to provide. And in addition to your business infrastructure, is understand the importance of you having a business development strategy, how you're going to make your money. And what's really critically important about that is that you need to be able to identify different revenue streams and different opportunities. So what I'm going to do today is try to help you understand that even though you could be, I saw we had an attorney on here, you could be the best attorney in providing the service, or the best caterer, or the best IT specialist, or construction general contractor. So clearly that's what you're going to utilize, those skills and those products to get the contract. But more equally as critical is you being able to manage the business. And with that kind of balance is critical, in which we see more successful businesses. Now, I've been a business counselor for approximately 35 years. Pace has been around, I think, 45 years. And so we bring a lot to the table. So even though we saw Superman in that last slide a little while ago, there really is no such thing as Superman. It's the team. We may have a team leader who really has a vision and empowers us to do better. But when we work as a team, and I'm going to encourage you to get a business development team in place, or that you develop a network to help you be a better business manager. So it could be having a banker, having a CPA, could have an attorney reviewing contracts, a public relations person, a mentor in your industry, subcontractors that are part of your network, potential competitors who could be joint venture partners. So there's a lot that we can do to help ourselves advance and scale and get contracts. So it's really all comes down to this, okay? Now, if you meet with me, I'm going to be very honest with you. If I don't think you're ready to get a contract, I'm going to say, I think you maybe need 5 more months or 3 more months to kind of get your ducks in a row, so to speak. But it really all just starts with contract ready. So like right now, really, even though I'm part of a team with my other counselors to help startups or businesses that are looking to get into utilities or government procurement or large corporations. I really only work with businesses that are contract ready now. And so it's critically important that when you believe in yourself, and you believe in yourself because you're honest with yourself. And those are critical components. But basically, a contract ready business is somebody that already is financially stable, okay, that has enjoyed some success already in contracting and is looking to go to the next level. So either they have a contracting experience as part of their past performance history, or they have enough experience where they think they can take it to the next level. So those are real important things. So generally, when we talk about procurement, when we talk about suppliers and vendors like us trying to get a contract with the government, they fall into what we call tiers. Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3, Tier 4. So Tier 1, so let's just use construction as an example. So recently I was at what's called now, it's going to be called the Inuit Dome. I think it's what the old Coliseum is about. And it's a big construction project that involves Turner, Construction, and there's another big company with them, AECom. And so they're a prime contractor. So I have a client who does construction cleanup, a woman-owned business, that they can go ahead of the construction, during the construction, and post-construction to do cleanup, to clean up all the leftover in the dirt and disposable materials that are left over during construction. So she would be a tier 2. But let's say that she wants to hire some experts that do a little bit of hazmat handling, and for toxic materials, and she hires them. Well, they would be a tier 3 contractor. So just know that they fall into tiers. And so anyways, so that's what I want you, but being contract ready. So how do you know if you're contract ready? Well, here's some ideas about this. And I'm going to make this slide presentation available to everybody here, okay? And it will also contain my contact information. You can get a hold of us. And even though maybe you don't fit into the MBDA program, we have other programs that we can fit you into. And we have a very large business development department. All of us are dedicated professionals to helping you. So when we look at here, you are contract ready, number 1, when you bring a high quality product or service to the table, okay? If you're just, thinking about it, until you make that decision that I am going to be an entrepreneur, I'm going to be a small business owner, I have a skill set or I have a product that I think I can take to market and make some money. So that's number 1. Number 2, that tomorrow I'm doing a workshop on marketing and a proposal writing. So if you go to our website, you can see that, if some of you who can make it. But part of website and marketing is, as a former procurement officer, and I'm looking at a proposal you've submitted to me, I'm gonna research you. I'm gonna vet you out, because it's a risk. If I give you a $200,000 contract or $500,000 contract or $1 million contract, I have a fiduciary duty to make sure that you can perform. So I'm not just going to take your word for it, although I'm going to listen to everything you got to say, or everything you put in the proposal, but I'm going to research you. So when I look at your website, does it match with the skill set and the degree of professionalism that you're promoting yourself? Does that match? And marketing materials. Do you take enough pride in the materials that you're putting out there about yourself and about your company that it matches and that it showcases a value proposition? Now, that's very, very important, what a value proposition is. So one of the things that we did when I started partnering with colleagues, former colleagues of mine, and we started going after contracts together, when we looked at all the different expertise and capacity to deliver between the 4 of us or the 3 of us or the 6 of us, we really saw that we were bringing a lot to the table. So we made sure that we communicated in our capability statements or in our proposals or in our statement of qualifications that we brought all this experience to the table. Now, the buyer may not be looking for all of that. He just wants this, which is great, because we're going to give him exactly what he wants. But we're going to let him know that we have the capacity to do so much more. Because keep in mind, as a buyer, okay, as a procurement officer, I may be in our plans in February of 2023, we're going to expand to a new geographical area, or we're going to increase services that we provide. So the fact that you're smart enough, you're a critical thinker, that you know your industry and what you're bringing to the table, that you can show that we are a very valuable pre-qualified business, Mr. or Mrs. Procurement Officer. A capability statement. I'm going to show you what that is in a minute. A capability statement, and we do workshops on that, is you being brutally honest with yourself. We always want to think that we're better and we can do more, and I have the capacity to learn and to perform better. Well, yes, we want to hang on to that because that is a leadership trait, that you have the willingness to grow. But a capability statement is who you are right now. This is what we do. Here's our core competencies of the different services we provide. Here's past performance history to show that we can do that work. Here's all of our next codes, our business license, small business certifications, accurate contact information, and that this format is in a professionally done format that shows that we take pride in what we do, and it's continuity, consistency throughout the process. So if you say you're bringing a high level product or service to the table, I'm going to expect you and anything you present to me to be at that high level. So just keep that in mind. Demonstrate that your company has the ability to finish contracts. You've done it before. You finished on time and on budget. And if you get a federal contract, you actually get scored. They score your performance that goes into your portfolio. And once you're in the federal government, especially if you're a woman-owned small business owner, you got the 8A, they could simply just give you the contract once you've gotten and performed on a contract. So your performance is critical. Now, how many times I remember as a young man, and I hired this kid to mow my lawn, and he did a terrible job. Well, I'm sorry. My neighbor goes, "Hey, what about Joey?" I said, "No, I wouldn't hire him because he didn't do a very good job, you know." And well, I'm going to tell you, it's a small world in the procurement world, especially in the industries that you service. So we want to make sure that if we ever get a contract, that we do our very best on that. And customer relations and quality control and work ethic that people can see are critically important on you being an effective business manager. Small business certifications, I'm going to get into that in detail right now. That's a way to level the playing fields, to give us an opportunity to be able to compete. Otherwise, it's the old boy network or the old girls network that never gives us a chance. And we need to be able to compete so we can grow and we can develop more skills and we can provide more jobs and more income and asset building capacity in our geographic area, our areas of industries. Major vendor portals. How many of us are registered in supplier vendor portals? The feds, the state, the city, the county, other counties, other cities, utility companies, big business, Walmart, Target. They all have vendor portals that we want to be able to get into. Register our businesses in there, put all of our next codes, put in small business certifications. You can learn a lot of research on these vendor portals. Contractor development programs. Okay, so right now your chamber is putting together a boot camp to kind of give you an overall perspective of doing business. Some of it may not relate so much to you. Some of it may relate very much to you. But the mere fact that you're attending this workshop and this series, that is a sign of business owners who tend to be more successful. You know, my father used to say, you know, if you know everything, how are you going to learn anything? And that's true. You know, he used to say that to me all the time. You know, you think you're so smart. I go, no, I know, you know, but that's true because I'm a baby boomer. And a lot of us baby boomers, we come from a perspective, because my father taught me to some degree, is that, hey, if it isn't broke, why fix it? But I'm going to tell you, they call that legacy thinking. And if you do not, especially these younger generations, are bringing new, fresh perspectives, new ideas, new skill sets, you know, I want to hire them because they're going to teach me something that I don't know. And there could be trends in the markets and trends in our industry. And the pandemic really just rattled the whole economy. So there's new ways. People are realizing the technology, we're using it right now. Us being on top of that, in addition to having a solid foundation in this industry, is only going to help us be able to perform better. But subcontractor development programs like, or business development programs like this, is I'd get my hands on everyone that you can make the time to attend. It says meet the primes and government procurement officers. Remember, government and big businesses and utility companies, they're not just this entity, you know, like, oh, they're just a big ivory tower. They're made up of people, points of contact. And we need to learn about that. What department buys our product or service? Who's the point of contact? Who are the decision makers? Do they have a supplier diversity program? We need to learn about that. How do we learn about it? We research them. We take the time. We're not being lazy thinkers. We're being critical thinkers because we're trying to help ourselves. And having a subcontractor network, know your competition. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. If you look up one of your competitors and let's see what they're doing, what kind of contracts they're going after, or how they're marketing themselves, and what kind of skill sets they're showcasing. If you can do it, long as you don't steal trade secrets, you can adopt it and make it your own, and maybe open up a whole other door for contract opportunities. And best business practices. As we move forward and as we grow and as we learn, we're always adjusting our business model and using the best business practices. Okay, so now we talked about you being contract ready. Okay, that we just covered that. So now another real important thing is we just talked about next codes. So if you were to meet with me, I'd say, I don't have it here, but I'd say, give me a list of all the things that your company can do, all the services that makes you money, whether it's products or services, consulting, providing the service, whatever it may be. I come up all of that list, and then, and if you contact me, I have an Excel resource sheet that has all of these where you can find the next codes, you can find supplier vendor portals to enroll and register in. But once you, so today, I had a client, and let's see, what does she do? She does public relations and business counseling, a little bit like us, but a little bit different. And she only had one next code. So when you register in these vendor portals, they have a bid match component. So each next code is generally a 6 number. And so let's say I'm looking for an IT professional that happens to do printing and marketing. And I'm going to tell you, each of those other subcategories have next codes, but she's never going to know because she only has one next code, because those platforms had a bid match component. So they already know all the next codes. And so when you register and your next codes are updated and current, they're going to be able to find you and send you a request for a proposal or an invitation to bid or a request for a statement of qualifications, and or a request for a quote. And so that's why we need to understand throughout the country, that's what next codes are used for. The next thing we want to get, now some of us have, it's called DUNS numbers. They don't use that anymore. And it's really only the feds, the new thing. So if you go, and I'm going to show you on the slide in a minute, the new numbers is called the unique identity identifier. And I'm going to tell you, so let's say I work for the city of Pasadena, and you give me your capability statement. Well, the truth is I don't really care about DUNS numbers and unique identity identifiers because we don't really use them because we're a city. However, when I look at your capability statement or your statement of qualifications, and I see that you've gone through the discipline as an effective business manager to provide this number, then I know that you understand procurement. Because remember, it's all about a risk. I can't risk giving it to somebody that's a chance that you're going to perform. I got to do the very best that I can to give that contract to somebody that is qualified. And so you taking the mental discipline as a business manager to apply for these certifications tells me that you're on top of your game and that you understand procurement and the protocol. System management. So if you're going to get with the federal government, I think it's worth it, even if you don't do business right now with SAM, with the feds. So go ahead and register. Have it as part of your capability statement, your business resume, so to speak, because that's going to tell me that you're thinking long range, you're thinking bigger contracts. You are somebody that I'm interested in talking with. Then you got cage codes, and these are basically different industries throughout the country. Okay, let's talk about capability statements. So a capability statement is not a promotional piece. Okay, this is you looking in the mirror and seeing what you do good and where you may be weak and how we can plan to overcome those challenges of being weak. But this, I'm going to tell you, as a procurement officer, even though I've given a contract to company ABC, which was my company, ABC's, and but I'm also going to keep these other capability statements because they're all qualified. So if something happens to this vendor, this contractor, and they don't work out because maybe he got sick or she got sick and the staff couldn't deliver, well, then I'm going to go to plan B. And plan B is not just speculation. It's that I know that they're pre-qualified, skilled professionals that can deliver. And so that's how we utilize capability statements. However, but it's really a snapshot of who you are right now. And I'm going to show you in a minute the different ones, different types that are well designed. But it basically showcases, this is basically what I am, and here's our core competencies. These are the main things that we do. And one thing about a capability statement, it can be tailored to I exactly match that department, that company, that particular service. Because you could maybe have done many things. And your staff, do you know your staff? Have they worked on other types of contracts? Or your subcontractors? So we need to know that as an effective business manager, a critical thinker is going to realize that. And if it's an area that we want to grow into, and we have a subcontractor or a potential joint partner, I'm going to put that next code and that potential service in this capability statement. Because I know that we have the capacity. If we get the contract, I'm bringing those people in and we're going to perform on it. So that's important. But you can see it serves basically as a business resume that can be tailored. That's just what I said. Sometimes proposals will ask to include your resume and a capability statement. And basically what it is, in a nutshell, it's a marketing tool based on fact that reinforces your qualifications and credentials. Okay, so here's the different components of a capability statement. It's a brief, basically one paragraph, maybe 8 sentences, maybe 10 max, right to the point of who you are and what you do. We're a construction contractor that specializes in multi-unit residential housing. We've been in existence 15 years. We have these different types of licenses. We are experts in finish carpentry, blah, blah, blah. So now I'm like right to the point. I'm not no fluff in there. That was just right to the point. As you can see here, right to the point, no fluff. Core competencies, and I could bullet point them. We do 10 things, and I put the top 10 things that we do. And if we have some growth areas, then I may even sneak a couple of them in there to show value added. We're doing this, what you're looking for exactly, but here's some other things So keep us in mind, if you're looking to expand services or other, we could also do this. Past performance. So company summary and core competencies, that's you just saying, hey, I can do this, I can do that. This is who we are. It's really still talk. Past performance means you've done it. And if you haven't done exactly that type of service or product or provided, then we're going to put in something that is comparable in scope and in size and in delivery. And so that's real important. So now we're anchoring who we are with past performance. Differentiators. What sets us apart? And you say, well, we're the bestest, and we can do it faster than anybody else. That's puffing. That's just talk. What I want to see is that, yes, in addition to a biweekly quality control reports, we do it weekly. And we have one of our project managers go out to on a weekly basis or every other day to make sure that we're performing on time at the quality level and in accordance to the specs of the contract. Now, see, that sets you apart because you're saying, look, where another contractor could just say, oh, we do top quality control. But the fact that you articulated that specific sets you apart because you're reinforcing your professionalism, your company's skill set. And that's what differentiators are meant for, making sure all the corporate data is accurate. I've seen capability statements that had misspelled words and wrong expired emails. So we need to make sure that we match the level of professionalism that we're bidding on the contract for. We want it to be professionally formatted, high resolution, and remember, this is about the messaging of who you really are and what you can do and why they should hire you. Okay, so here's a sample. Okay, this is an IT company. Okay, and he has, you can see on the next codes, he's probably got, I don't know, 20, 15, maybe more next codes. They also talk about different vehicles that they could work on. There's no more done in Bradbury, so we got to get rid of that. Their contact information, their core competencies. Okay, they point out exactly what they do. And their enterprise solutions is also bullet points for core competencies as well. Individual services, kind of, they talk about, okay, we can do IT consulting, assessments and discovery, hardware applications, infrastructure design. Those are all separate high-level categories of services that this company can provide. They do storage and cloud maintenance and all kinds of. So right now, I'm going to tell you, this is an excellent capability statement. Very well formatted, easy to read, very well professionally graphics. And on the bottom here, you can see client samples, Department of Defense, Department of Education, General Dynamics. So this company, Veteran Affairs, healthcare. So they're showcasing a variety of industries that they've performed on in the past. And for some of us that we're just starting off, then if we don't have very much to communicate, then we're going to need to build it. But however, if you got a staff member or a business partner that has these other things that they've done, learn what your people are about, and we can utilize that skill set. And we can enter those next codes, and they've worked on other contracts. And you too, if let's say your company has only been in business 5 years, but before that you worked for another company and in the same industry, and you worked on this project and that project and these skilled projects, then that means your company has that skill set right now as well. So, which is really critically important. Here's another one. So this guy is a manufacturer. Clearly, you can see he's a vet. He's kind of overdoing it on the flag, but hey, he wants to reinforce that he's a veteran, that he deserves that he is an effective businessman because they have the discipline background that the military provides. attention to detail. And so this is another excellent written capability statement, and very well formatted, goes right to the point of who they are. And their core competencies, they talk about specific product design and products and their associated numbers that are related to that. So clearly this is Department of Defense high level type of products that they're providing supplies for. And as you can see here, this is also very well done. Okay, so now we're going to move on to small business certifications. So small business certifications, it was created to give us diverse businesses an opportunity to compete. Because back in the day, Al Capone days and up into the 40s and early 50s, a lot of those opportunities were being hogged up by these big companies that they just gave the contract without even thinking. They're my boys or they're my girls, I'm just going to give them the contract. And it left us out. So the government had decided that what they're going to do is they're going to make that it be mandatory, if it's government taxes that are being utilized, that a percentage of those contracts need to go to small diverse businesses. And if you think about it, okay, me as a buyer, okay, as a former buyer, I don't want to have to go always to the same old people. I would like some fresh talent to come in with fresh ideas, fresh perspectives, new methodologies, new technologies. And because that means now I have more of a selection to find and provide better quality of products and services to my constituencies, whether it's my workforce or to the end user, the general public, or my B2B, whoever my end user is. I want to increase that vendor pool. So as you can see here, like with the state of California and the city of LA and the county, they have a 25% threshold that 25% of the contracts need to go to diverse businesses. The government is behind in all of it. There may be like at 19%. Utility companies are like at 52%. But what the part of the problem is, not enough of us are going and getting the small business certifications and then applying because we think it's too complex. And I'm telling you, it's not. If you got a chance to make a $500,000 contract or $1 million contract or more, then what's stopping you from learning what we need to learn? And to be competitive. You can do it. We can do it. So as you can see here, so it's mandatory. If it's public dollars, taxpayer dollars, they're going to say we need a percentage of this to be minority or women or small or local or LGBTQ or veterans, disabled veterans. So you can see that. And if you have that, I saw a county a proposal that went out, and if you had their small business certification, they automatically gave you 5 extra points on your proposal in the scoring. Now keep this in mind, okay? I'm going to take one step back. If you make it to the short list, the top 5, top 3, top 2 companies, any of that short list can perform on the contract. They're all qualified. They can do the job. Okay? So when I partnered with my former colleagues, we never got a small business certification, and we were very fortunate. We landed some very big contracts. And the reason you're going to get the contract is you bring in your A game. You bring in a top level product or service to the table. That's the primary reason you're going to get the contract, not because you have a a small business certification. A lot of companies say, oh, I got this. How come I'm not getting no contracts? Well, it's probably because your proposal is not accurate, or you just don't qualify when they compare it to the other qualified candidates. However, if I was to reopen my company, I'm going to get all the certifications I can. because now I know how they're utilized. So if you and I are equally qualified and you have the certification and I don't, you're going to represent the better value. Because let's say my score comes in at 98, and because they give you that 95, that 5 extra points, your score comes in at 99. And even though I thought, man, I should have got that, but the reality is because you had that certification, they give you the 5 extra points. The other thing is local preference. So local preference means, and the public policy behind it is that if I'm going to give a contract out, it makes business sense and service sense that I give it to somebody in our geographical area, because that means the jobs are going to be created here, the salaries that are paid off or the profits that are paid are going to go into the local community. And so so you can also get anywhere from 5 to 10 points just because you're local. And then the last one is what we call the proposal discounts. So let's say you and I put a proposal in, we're equally qualified. You put in a bid at 100 grand and I put in a bid at 90 grand. And if I can do exact same thing, quality of product like you, I represent the better value. I should get the contract. I save the agency $10,000 and I can do the work equally as well. I should get it. However, I don't have the certification and you do. So with the county of LA, even though your bid is 100 grand and mine's 90, they're going to give you a 15% bid preference. So now your bid comes in at 85,000. And now you represent, at least for scoring purposes, the better value. So that's how small business certifications are utilized. And now when you go and you apply for a small business certification, it's based on who's the 51% owner. And if you're a partnership and there's 3 of you, then 51% of you need to qualify under the requirements to get the small business certification. And they're going to check you out. And they should. Because why do I want to have a company that maybe this person's a millionaire? There may be some of you out there that's a millionaire. And then you open up a small company and you're taking advantage of the certification. That certification is not designed for you. That certification is designed for hardworking business owners that are looking to scale, to get an equal opportunity. So we want to make sure when you turn in your application that you have all the documents and you're able to prove that you're a legitimate business, that you're the 51% owner, that you either have one of the highest positions in the company, either CEO or CFO or COO, Chief Operating Officer, that you have the ability to bind the company into a contract and that you're making major decisions, that the company cannot make a decision without your input. Those are all things that qualify you to get a certification, as you can see here. Okay, so as you can see, there are a lot of certifications out there. And unfortunately, one certification doesn't qualify for all the different levels of government. Each level of the government has its own. It's kind of, we think, redundant, but that's how the system is. We need to accept it. So we need to be smart on what certifications we go for. So if I don't think I'm ready right now to do federal contracting, but I think I can do something in the county or the city, then I'm going to go after those certifications that have the highest goals within them. And those are the ones I'm going to go after with those branch of government. So I'm shooting a lot at you. I want you to look at the big picture, and then we can, you can enroll and we can help guide you. But you can see here, emerging business, small business, minority, disadvantaged business. That's the one to go get, folks. This one. Metro uses it, and it's kind of a quasi federal because it's U.S. Department of Transportation, and transportation buys everything. They do catering, they buy paper, they hire temporary staff, they do IT, everything. All these agencies do the same thing. State of California has 255 departments. So just know that, okay? But you can see here, we get a disadvantaged woman-owned small business. We get LBGTQ. We got small business. We got veteran-owned small business, 8A hub zone. So there's a lot of categories. So we need to decide what contracts do we think we can go after, and then we design a strategy of what certifications to go after. You can see federal goals, 23% of the contracts need to go to small businesses, 5% small disadvantaged businesses, 5% to women. Now you say, well, that's kind of small, but when you think about the federal government doing trillions of dollars in contracting, that represents a lot of money. And there's a lot of opportunities that could open the door for you, as you can see. State of California, 25%. Then they got another one, public works. The only difference here is that the state will average out, so you can't make more than, let's say here, $18,000 over 3 years. I'm assuming $18 million over 3 years. So I think we all qualify to go for it. However, the small business public works are for larger companies that will allow you to go up to 32 million over the 3 years and still qualify. And as you can see, they got disabled veterans. I have Caltrans as well, as you can see. So these are the kind of documents you're going to need to qualify. So what's going to happen is you're going to apply, you're going to create a file with these documents, and then we can use this same documents when we start applying for the utility companies or with the state or with the county or the city, because now we have an archive of the documents they're looking for. And if you look at this list, it's really to establish that you're a legitimate business, okay, run by a law-abiding business owner, so you can see here, articles. So you're going to get your articles of incorporation, your bylaws, your stock ledgers are going to want to see those of you your corporate books. They're going to want to see if you have a business license. Okay, generally you need to have one, or if you need a special contractor's license because you're providing contracts. They're going to want to see 3 years of your company's tax returns. They're also going to want to see 3 years of your personal tax returns. Okay, because that way we could find out if you're really a closet multimillionaire. We want to find out about that. Okay, financial statements, it's very important. So look, for me, if you have a year-to-date profit loss statement and a balance sheet and maybe a accounts receivable schedule, that tells me that you're on top of your game and when it comes to financial management. And that's what I want to see. And so do these small business certification officers. They want to make sure that who they're giving these awards out have a high likelihood of succeeding and that are grounded in good, prudent business practices. And that's what these are here. They want to see proof of investment. So I incorporated. It cost me $800 to incorporate. Well, then that means I've made my personal investment to create this company. Just like in lending, if you have no skin in the game, then you're a higher risk. But if you've made investments, you bought an equipment, and you borrowed money to do it, you made an investment into the company. That's the type of business that we want to do business with that should get the small business certifications. Lease agreement, if you're home based, then you're going to give them your home lease agreement, and a bank signature card. What we don't want to see is you commingling your business money and your personal banking account. That is a disaster, a recipe for disaster, and it shows poor judgment. And so for me, I see that even though I like you, that's gonna give you a demerit. Okay, so just know that. Okay, vendor portal registration. This is critical. Okay, because this is one of the main ways that we can find contracts. Okay, so we get all our next codes, we register, we can apply for the small business certification generally in the same portal, supplier vendor portal. we could look up, and I'm going to show you a couple right now. We could look up contract opportunities by the name or by the next code. We can find prime contractors. Okay. We could find people that are our competitors that we can joint venture with or other subcontractors. It is a wealth of information of being able to do your due diligence and research. You say, well, I'm not good at computers. Then let's find somebody that can help you, that's on your staff that can do it. You know, don't be lazy thinker. Let's be a proactive, critical thinker. And, you know, we don't have to know everything, but we just need to make sure we recognize what's important as a business manager, and let's find the talent to help us understand that and to be able to address those challenges, which is very, very important. But it allows suppliers to look for buyers, okay? It allows prime contractors to look for subcontractors to invite you to bid as part of their bid, okay? It allows you as a subcontractor to identify prime contractors that you can solicit to, that we could take a proactive approach, okay? Like I had mentioned before, we could look at contract opportunities. I would also look under closed contract opportunities to see, do they buy what we sell? And are there contract cycles? So this contract is coming up for bid again in year 3, and year 3 is in February. I'm going to mark that down as a potential contract opportunity down the line. I'm planning. I'm planning in concept of annual, biannual, and quarterly. I'm looking ahead because that's what a prudent business manager would do. It's the platform. It's the mechanism that allows the government agency to announce, or the utility company or the private sector company, we have a need for this product or this service, and that's the official way that they announce it. It's their protocol, their process. And like I had mentioned, it allows, based on your next code, to match that service to that bid opportunity. And some of them have what's called a business inclusion program. I believe the city of LA has it. And, you know, and there's other programs, like the feds have one called the Mentor Protege program, where larger corporations will mentor smaller corporations. Those are all very valuable information that we can learn from these different portals. Okay, here's for the federal government. This is the SAM system. Recently was revamped, but you can see here. So right here under SAM, then it goes contract opportunities. So we can actually go into that thing and say, do they have any IT work? Or do they have any plumbing work? Or do they have any landscaping? Or is there any security guard work? Or whatever, catering, you know, or concession stands. Also keep that in mind. So we can look up opportunities. And we're going to look up for current and close, because we want to see if there's any contract cycles that we can tap into. As you can see, there's a lot of resources here. And if you don't have your unique identity identifier, well, you can go here and start there. So here's SAM. You can't do business with the federal government if you're not registered in SAM. Now, there's another, so here's for the U.S. Federal General Services Administration, GSA. They are more involved with buying commodities, sometimes services, but primarily commodities. And as you can see here, we go to this website and we want to sell to them. So we're going to click on sell, and we're going to register our business and all our next codes. Now, one thing here in this system, they look at what are called schedules. You can see here this first sentence, referred to as multi-award schedules. So depending on the product you sell, they'll fall into a category as schedule. So like I had a company and he sells sanitizer and hand sanitizer and soap dispensers. Well, that had one type of schedule, but he also was selling PPE equipment for COVID, and that fell into a different schedule category. So once we learn, okay, where our money is, and we take the time to learn, then that's we'll do that, and we can help you. And all of these sites have assistant contact people that you can get a hold of and that will help you. State of California, same thing, Cal e-Procure. So as you can see here down here, sell to the state. So you're going to register. Now the state uses, they don't use NEX codes, they use the United Nations industry specific code. But it's like NEX codes. It's basically the same thing. It's just a different system. And if you enroll with us, I'll send you a copy of that that has that. Or you can look it up yourself. Go to Cal e-Procure and under the search page, put NEX codes or classification codes and it'll come up. But you can see you can sell to the state, and right next to it is get certified. Go get your certification. And then you can see down there's a lot of resources here. Find public procurement information. And they generally will have a liaisons that you can work with. But we will also work with you as well. The state of California. Okay, here's doing business with the county. Same thing. You could register here in the green. We register our business on NEX codes. Okay, we're going to look for opportunities, closed opportunities. You can hear and look at former contracts and look for the contract cycles. There's a ton of information here, as you can see. Here's the LA. Now, Los Angeles recently changed it from the LA Virtual Business Network to RAMP, which stands for the Regional Alliance Marketplace for Procurement. And so the city of LA just rolled this out a few months ago, maybe back in April or May, and they expanded it to be a region-wide. So it's not only city opportunities, but other cities, Pasadena, Long Beach, can advertise that. The county, if they wanted to, private sector companies can all advertise contract opportunities. And you could also look for certifications here as well. And so we're kind of excited about this particular series. Here's a private sector one. So right before I came to PACE, the company I used to work for, they finally went under. I was a loan officer with them. And so I was unemployed again. I was running my company for 8.5 years. So I reopened my company because a friend of mine, I used to be a transportation deputy, says, hey, one of the local cities in the gateway cities there, they're looking for somebody to do a transportation analysis and try to find a new shuttle provider for their system that hasn't been changed and updated in 20 years. So this, but you're going to have to go register and plan a bid, which I think you have to pay like $40 a month or $30 a month in order to get access. A lot of small cities are plugged in with Planet Bid. One of my clients, she does office furniture. And so she wanted to do business with Anaheim Convention Center. She had to go through Planet Bid. And, so I recommend let's go all the ones that are free first, but as we get more serious and we understand what we're doing better, okay, we're here to help you, then we're going to register on this. There's this one. I think there's another one called BidSync, and that we can get in. But you can see you register your business. You can look for opportunities. There's a lot of information that's on here. Valuable information. Give me just a minute. Okay. So you can see here, when we go on these vendor portal sites, we want to look at our NEX codes. So you can put here, I'm an electrical contractor. Well, here's the NEX code, 238-210. Okay, graphic designer, here's their NEX code. So remember, each category of business service has its own. And they say, well, I don't know my NEX code. Well, then you can still put in the buzzword, drywall. And the system itself will flag that. And it'll show you what the NEX codes are. Trucking, as you can see here. Okay, let's say I call you up and I say, Dr. Clement, I found that there's a contract for you. Here's the number. Go to the LA Ramp site, plug that number in, you can see it. And so you could see everything is managed by numbers. Our bank accounts, our driver's license, our small business certifications, they all have numbers. So we need to understand that those are important ways of managing data and getting access to opportunities. Proposals, okay, gonna get right into proposals. I know we're running out of time, but let's go all through this. And we found an RFP that we want to bid on. So this is basically in a nutshell version of what is that you need to address in a proposal. The bottom line is that if you're especially in an industry, we want to talk the same language that the buyer is looking for, the procurement officer. We want to talk the same language as them. So they're basically going to ask you a summary of your company. And so just like the capability statement, we're no fluff. We're going to go into detail of who we are, our departments, the services we provide, the amount of time we have, the services, skilled services, and things that we bring to the table. We're going to, it's just here paragraphs, not pages. We're going to get right to the point. We're going to acknowledge that we recognize this bid opportunity and we're giving you notice that we're going to apply. So remember, proposals are legal documents. They have legal recourse. So anything you represent on there, okay, you can be held for fraud. So we want to make sure that we do it accurately and within the law, and we'll help, okay, help you understand that. Then we go to the scope, okay. I'll go right to the heart of it. Okay, this is what they're looking for. They're looking for a company with 5 years experience in creating these type of implementation of these types of software that specifically can do A, B, C, D, and E. Okay, so now we know exactly what they're looking for because that's what we can do. So we go to the scope, we look what they're at, what they're looking for, what their minimum qualifications are, and then we're gonna start writing. We're gonna, in accordance to the layout of the proposal, those are what we're gonna follow up. Then I'll make sure that we understand that how we're gonna do it, any special methodologies or technologies we bring to the table, we're gonna make sure we put that in there. There's gonna be a timeline. Many contracts, they say they'll give you, this is a 1-year contract, and at the 6-month point, we need to see these things done. So they may want to see a scheduled performance. A bid budget. How many of us know how to do a bid budget? So what steps do you take to do a bid? Well, we're going to look at the hard costs first. What would it cost me without any profit just to perform? The hard costs. And once I see what the hard costs are, then we can add a little overhead and we can toy with a profit margin. So we can submit a competitive bid, okay, best value bid. Then there's other parts you can see. There's administrative policies and exhibits, attachments that you may need to form. When we're scoring contracts, you can see here. For me, when I was scoring the contracts in this last job that I had, number 1, okay, was the top 4. Number 1, do you bring a unique methodology that's current, that using current technologies, a new way of doing things that is current with your industry? That was number 1 for me. Number 2, who is your skilled staff? Now, even though I wanted to learn about the executive staff, when I was doing the interviews for this transportation companies, I really could care less about the CEO. I mean, I do care because I want to see what kind of, how he's grown the business and what kind of staff he hires. But for me, it was the skilled staff. It was the transportation director. I wanted to know more about him because he's going to be the boots on the ground that's going to be performing on the contract. So methodologies, skilled staff, past performance. Have you done this kind of work before or something similar to this? And then budget. So for me, those were the 4 main criteria. This one has a little bit more. They have like safety and that because maybe there's construction that's involved. Okay. And then you turn your proposal in, and I like you. And I'm going to call you up and I'm going to say, you know what? We've decided that we're going to narrow it down to the top 5. and you made the short list. So we want you to know now internally, I'm going to rank them 1 through 5. Okay, that's not for the vendors to know yet, but to them to know that they made the top cut. And I'm going to rank them, and I'm going to send you an invitation, notifying you that, and that we want to interview you. And then you're going to get your team, and and we can help prep you for interviews as well on what's really important. And then you got the contract. And with that, it's an opportunity for you to grow, increase your staff, increase your capacity to deliver, potentially provide new services. Okay, get the specialized training now that we got the contract. And it's another opportunity now to pull the trigger. So if you need a bond, then we're going to contact a bonding company. If we need to increase our insurance limits, we're going to do that. If we need to pay prevailing wage or workers' comp, then we're going to pull the trigger on all those. We're not going to do that until we get the contract. But then we make sure that before we turned in the bid proposal, that we had all those ducks lined up. When we got the contract, now we're going to execute and we're going to move forward. And with that, I think I'm pretty close on time.
Thanks, Andrew. Thanks for that really great presentation. I mean, there were a lot of information that I'm sure our audience was able to take away for tonight. I'd like to open up the floor for any questions that anyone might have. Is there anyone who has a question? You can please feel free to unmute yourself. We could take probably a couple questions. I know that Andrew has showed his contact information. You can definitely contact Andrew offline after this webinar for more questions. But is there anyone who has any questions tonight?
Okay, so if not, please know that I threw a lot of information out there at you, but I want you to look at it like books on a bookshelf, like an encyclopedia. And each book has its own importance and topic value, and we want to take a step at a time. Could be baby steps, but we want to take positive steps. And just know, in California, I think it was $120 billion worth of contract opportunities in 2021. And more of us need to go for it and to apply. And we're here to support you and help guide you. And I want to thank everybody that participated in here, and just know that we're here to help you.
Thank you so much, Andrew. Yeah, I think there's no questions right now. They're probably still processing. Oh, Lalaine, I think, has a question. She just raised her hand. Go ahead, Lalaine.
Hi, thank you for a great presentation. Lots of information. I had a question. When you're a startup and you don't have sales yet, can you start looking at county or city? I know federal requires sales, or do you need sales to show experience and fulfillment?
Well, it would depend. So like, for instance, when I landed, we had a contract with one of the big water districts we landed, and it was a stakeholder outreach contract. And so this is, has your company ever done major outreach to business leaders and political leaders? And I said, well, no, because I've been limited. My company that's only been open 3.5 years really was just helping small business owners. But my past professional work, okay, I did do that. I used to work in the state assembly and in the mayor's office and some big corporations. So in the previous professional history, I did do that. So that means that my company has that skill set now. So you understanding as a startup what industry and what types of products and services you're going to provide, and we can put up a plan, a strategic growth plan. Because it could be timing, and maybe you need to be in business a year. Well, how fast does a year go by? It goes by fast. And so you developing your business plan and getting your business model in place, and really identify types of your target market, and then coming up with a plan, how we're going to reach them, how we're going to land contracts, and we're going to take the steps, and we're going to grow. Remember, you could also partner, either hire the talent, joint venture, okay, or subcontract, that will immediately give you those kind of opportunities as well. So don't say no. Let's think it through and put a good plan together. And maybe it's only 3 months or a 6 months plan to move forward before we start going for it. But without you knowing, we won't know what to do.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Lalaine. Is there anyone else? All right, I think everyone is good for now. Before we end this program, let's have our group photo. Let me see. I'll take the photo.
Oh, well, let me get unblurry.
All right, Andrew.
Okay, there we go.
All right, everyone turn on your cameras if you can. We're going to do a group photo before we end this webinar.
Yes, please.
All right, smile. All right, perfect. Thanks, everyone. Thank you again, Andrew, for that wonderful presentation. It was, I wish we could have given you more time, but I think with an hour, I think you were able to actually give us a lot of information. So thank you so much. I know
Okay.
that our attendees and our members can reach out to you personally if they have more questions and if they want to get this process going. So thank you so much again, Andrew.
That's great. Okay, everybody, you have a very nice evening, and looking forward to meeting you in the future.
Awesome. Thanks, Andrew.
Okay,
All
bye-bye.
right, so I just wanted to remind everyone of our membership. Please join the chamber. Individual membership is 150, corporate membership is 300. And then we have a code here, a QR code that you can scan. You can see all of the perks and benefits of joining the chamber. And I think up next, I will call on our VP of events, Mr. Miko Palon, to remind everyone of our upcoming events. Miko?
Thanks, Fiji. Just real quick, our next event is the Entrepreneur Bootcamp series continues with Sell Online with E-commerce Tools. That's with Roberto Martinez from Grow with Google, November 9th, next Wednesday. And then our graduation will be the following week on the 16th. It's about the art and science of networking, featuring Dr. Bill Salvi. And you'll get to meet your cohort and past speakers aside from the graduation. And then please save the date for our holiday celebration. That's going to be on December 14th. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Miko. So we definitely want you to tell us what we're doing well and things that we need to improve on. So watch out for that email that you will receive after this webinar. Please give us your feedback and also some testimonials if you really like this webinar. Some of our executive officers, we have Lois, Celeste, David, Miko, myself, Fiji, and Henry Chan. Also, some of our board members are here tonight. Gemma Bergstrom is here, Attorney Lioness Ebe, Rosalyn Arciaga is also here, Joseph Sarmiento is here as well, Reddy Babasa Thompson, and also Kathy Curran. So that rounds up our board members. If you want to get in touch with us, you know where to find us. Next slide, please. You can email us at info@faccgla.org or visit our website, faccgla.org. Awesome. So thank you again, everyone, for joining us on our webinar tonight. Hope you have gained a lot of information that you can use for your small business. And we would like to see you again next week for our second to the last webinar. Thanks again, everyone. Have a good night.
Thanks, Fiji. Thank you, everyone.